Hey, welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. I'm just looking back there. I'm gonna go down and have my walk, which has become a daily ritual when I can. Now that we're under house arrest, so it was, and I have all of the dogs. Well, I even have Basha today, and Basha is the one with the, seems to be doing pretty good. He's one of the brown dogs, or she is one of the brown dogs, and got hurt, and has a wonky leg. So I haven't showed this part of the property before, or certainly not for a long time. This is the bridge that we made. The bridge over the creek. That's where the creek used to be for crossing. Be quiet. Hey, be quiet. Hey, hey. And we hadn't intended to concrete this part, but it really needed it. And there's Rado. Oh, that's good. He's taking... Mate, dogs! Hey! Basha! The dogs were harassing the carabao. And that's the mother and the baby. Fortunately, they've been taken out of the way now. ¿Cómo está? Hey, hey! Quiet! Noisy dogs today, because we're seeing people. Well, this is our weary road. Because we cut this road out of the hill, you can see that the erosion is quite bad. If we could step it back and perhaps use one of the techniques that they have in California of putting either plastic or netting there, which the grass can grow through, and it would hold that back. That's probably a project for the future. Well, we're right about 3:30, maybe 4 in the afternoon now, so the sun is quite low. This is the part that I love to look back. Oh, one less dog. Oh, well, he's a guest. Hey! Oh, she is a guest. Come here. This is one of Julio's little dogs. He has tiny dogs. This is a mom. Very friendly. And there's the 6 coconut trees. Always reminds me of Winnie the Pooh, where Winnie the Pooh and the Enchanted Forest had a circle of trees that went around, and it was an enchanted place, so it didn't matter how many times you counted the trees, unlike those 6 coconut trees there. You could never count the trees in the Enchanted Forest. Even if you put a piece of string on the one you start at, it always ended up a different number. Oh, I'm being left behind here. Oh gosh, look. You can see the wide track of the big tires from the Raptor. And this all happened when it was wet. And then when it dries, this becomes really solid. If you look now, very hard. So it really needs a grader. Come on, Red. This is Red for those of you who haven't taken this walk before. See, that tree is gradually going to come down. It's losing the soil around it. It doesn't matter how many times I take this walk, it's, to my eyes, it's different every time, because all it takes is for the sun to be at a slightly different angle and everything looks different. See, in these hills, very sandy composition, so the changes are severe. Look at that. Because of the erosion, you can see the marks of where the rain usually comes off the hill above and goes followed down the same old route. And this is a Gemelina tree. 2 Gemelina trees. It always seems very funny to me that a Gemelina tree, that tree belongs to the former mayor of Taliban, so I believe. And here's the other Gemelina tree, and for all I know, he owns that one too. Gemelina wood, the wood from the Gemelina tree is sought after. It's very beautiful hardwood. So when it's finished, planed up and sanded smooth, it's really very beautiful. I have to laugh at the dogs, the way that they march in front. They never get that far away. Now this is the old road. This is the way the road used to go. I'll take this one for a change. There's the way that Rado actually plotted that piece up over that higher ground with his carabao and plough. He ploughed the land, and then by hand we actually flatted that out. Not me, of course. And over there, you can't see it now, but right where there's a V, where can I show you? How can I show you? Right there's a V. And someone lived there under a tarpaulin for the longest time when he was doing work in the rice fields, which are down there. You can see where it gets even greener. That's where the creek will go. And that will be the low-lying land, and therefore it will be planted. But you can see that this has been this is being planted now. This here, look, you can see it's been ploughed. We ploughed the hard way with a carabao and a hand plough. I had a go at that. Believe me, it's not easy. It's not easy to do it wrong, let alone do it right. So, look how quickly nature retrieves what was taken from it. That was the road. We rode that road with both the big blue and the little red. And we got stuck a couple of times too. But it came here and went right around. And then up this narrow part between the palms. But now, of course, it's much more civilized. You can see that's the way that I usually walk. One thing you have to listen out for when you're walking like this, and that is that crackling noise that tells you that there's fire. We did a video of our return in the truck a couple of weeks ago, and all of this was burned, and you can actually see how it's black. And there's the new shoots coming up there, look. So where it's blackened, that was where it was burning. And I walked up here because I didn't want to come up in the truck. I left the truck way back there, right round the S-bend, and I walked up here to investigate and find this area, this whole area was burning, and the heat from this grass, when it's burning, burns very, very quickly and has a loud crackling noise. And you can see all the beautiful new shoots there. They're back in action very, very quickly. Look, all of this. This is where the narrow path used to be, and it was right on the edge. I came off here on the motorcycle with Talek with me, and we looked over there and I thought, whoa, if we had gone down there, we might not have been found for a little while. See more fire here. So this is our road. That's the ending of our particular road. I paced that out, and roughly it's 90 to 100 meters down to the bridge. That's what we've just walked, and this is the main part. This is what was put in, I think, by the man who owns, or well, he doesn't own anything now. He's passed and gone to another place. But before he died, the man had a dream of having this, what would be a beautiful palm plantation, but now it's fallen into, well, into neglect. You can see all that should really be nice. There's the good growing up out of it, but all of that is, of course, for what I know as a city boy, all of that dead stuff is stopping it from growing nice, and all of those are like that. See, there's one there, and it's a shame, but you can see all of this was aflame at one time very recently. So what I was planning on doing today, instead of just taking a walk all the way down to the road, or nearly down to the road, I don't go all the way because I don't want the dogs to get into the habit of following me all the way down to the road. So what I do is I go part of the way and then I turn back. Now, I was thinking that one of these pathways that I pointed out the last time that I did the video, the last time I walked with all the dogs, there's a pathway off to the left. I don't think there's any pathways at this particular point off to the right. But there is a pathway off to the left, and sometimes when there's a lady that we give a ride to, and she takes the path, and I think it's over there, but there is a pathway there which we could go down and have a look. So let's okay, let's go. Come on, Red, it's not that big adventure. There's no lions and tigers down there. So what this has taken us to is obviously down to the rice fields. Now when it's really overgrown and thick, after the heavy rains, everything starts growing wild. You don't see all of these rice fields. Wow, look, huge huge area of rice fields, and you would walk between. We won't go there, lest people might think that we're intruding, but you can see all of the rice fields going up to the right there, and they end with this one here. Now those lines that you can see there, that would be a carabao sled, a bamboo sled, and those sleds are still in use every day. Well, that looks like it was done only today or yesterday, and they're still in use. When we first came here, because it was a narrow path, we couldn't get a truck. We didn't have a truck, but we couldn't get a truck up that very narrow path. It was only for walking and for a width like this of a bamboo sled. And we used to have our materials delivered to the bottom of the road, and then my brother-in-law Rado would bring his carabao down in his own time, no matter how much we said, "We're here, can you hurry up please?" He will come along, plonk, de-dum, be-dum, be-dum, and never in a rush. Look at Red. Red is all ears and quivering. He's not. Red is no hero. Look. He hears dogs and says, "I'm out of here. So let's go, Red." I call Pogie. Pogie! Pogie's in his favourite place, which is in the rice field. He loves to get filthy. He's over there, look. Come on, Pogie! Let's go! Alright, that was a short pathway, wasn't it? There's somebody calling me there. They don't know me, but they can see from way over there that I'm white, so I must be Kano. So they're calling Kano, and probably one of the kids that we know. That's the thing about being a foreigner in the Philippines, is that you may not know many people at all, but they know you. Can you hear? Hey! Hey! More than one voice now. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear that engine. That's not a motorcycle, it's a chainsaw. Nearly always, if not close, will be in the distance like that, and they'll be cutting down a tree to be used for building a house somewhere. Now they use what looks like a 4-foot chainsaw, take the tree down with great accuracy. They take the tree down to fall where they want it to fall, and they use a string. They use a string, and they have a way of cutting the fallen tree. Clean it up obviously first, get all the unnecessary branches off, and they cut the tree up. And it's an amazing thing for a foreigner, because they cut the thing up according to the cut list that you give them. Now, in the West, if you went in with your cut list and you went into a timber yard, they would cut that up on probably a big table saw. Here, the best you would get would be a very big bandsaw, and they'd be very proud of that here in the province, that it was cut on a bandsaw. and those pieces are not always straight, but for the technique that's used, they are incredibly straight. So a 6x2 piece that would be used for, say, a roofing timber, it might be 6x2 at one end. It may vary just a little bit in the middle, and then at the end it might be 6 by 2¼ which, if you don't have any power saws, if you don't have any power tools, I should say, then you would be looking at quite a bit of hard work. My friend Kevin came from New Zealand, his company Pukiko in New Zealand, and he very kindly brought some gifts for us the last time that he came, and he brought brought stuff like carpenter's pencils. He donated a long time ago. He actually donated a cement mixer, which is on loan up at Zamora right now. So he donated that, but he also donated some carpenter's bags, pouches go around the waist, and he brought several other tools which we passed on to the Superman team, set squares and tape measures. Tape measures is a thing that's very expendable here, because for some reason they bust the brake. I was about to say they break the brake. I thought better of it. They bust the brake that's on the tape measure. A retractable blade then becomes one that you have to hold instead of being able to put the brake on it and have it stay out where you want it to be. And what happens then is that they start using the tape measure in a way it was never intended, because what you're supposed to do is keep as much of the blade safely back in its house, if you like, and that doesn't happen. So tape measures have a very, very short life in the hands of Filipino workers. Now that said, they will use only non-power tools, only basic tools like hammer. They may have one chisel. They'll have a hammer and a chisel. They may have a square. They might possibly have a spirit level, but more likely they'll have the old-fashioned plumb bob, which is a weight on the end of a long piece of string, as long as you need it. And they also, when they're looking at finding the levels for the roof as they're building it, they have a length of clear plastic tubing. They fill that tubing with water. Now, I know that for the people that work in construction know exactly what I'm talking about, so I'm not talking down to you as if you don't know this. But for the people who don't work in construction and don't know this, for your interest, they can work out just by using a piece of clear plastic tubing that's about maybe ½ an inch, fill it with water, and water has it finds its own level. So by using that, and by holding both ends of the plastic tube, which can be say 10 or 15 feet long, and it's held at one end of the roof, taken to the other end, filled with water, and it will find its own level, and that level that shows in the second half of the tube is the same level as on the first half of the tube. So you mark the pencil off and you know that the roof will be level. All of which is not mind-blowing, but it is of interest, to me at least. So that's a site that we have only become accustomed to as we've been sending the grader up and down this road. We've now sent the grader along this road twice, and right about March it should be coming up for the next trip, which will take out all of these places that hold the water. So it will scrape all of this out, ready for another year. There, once again, that's the old road. Let's take the old road for a change. See how this was the old road. This is where we used to go. And like I said, Mother Nature very quickly reclaims what is hers. We used to come over this. There's one particular place, it's right about here, look. This all gets filled with water, and even if it's not filled with water, it looks like mud. You can see there. This is where the carabao come to gain relief from the sun. Carabao, that's the Filipino word for the water buffalo. So you can see where the sources of water are. Right down there. Look how green it becomes, and then up, and how it gets parched up toward the top. Now I always say that this is the place that I used to stop when it was Taliklik and I on the bike, and I used to stop here and we'd sit, and I'm sure that as a kid Talik wondered why on earth anybody would find this so special when I've been looking at this all my life. But if you look there, there's a green conical shaped mountain with another behind it, and it looks like it has a curve, a sharp edge on it. That's the one for the lady that was in my labour. But over there now, because this is quite a clear day, you can see way beyond the smoke. And up there, I used to try to tell Taliklik, you don't know it now, but in years to come, maybe